Hey, so today we're going to look at our knees, maybe as a point of power through our body. But really, what we're going to be looking at is alignment. We're going to be looking at containment. We're going to be looking at choice. We're going to be looking at balance and imbalance within our body. And we're going to be looking at how we can really access our own personal power, our personal strength, and that we can increase and leverage that to really have optimal health and mobility within our bodies. And even more interestingly, perhaps potentially maybe, is when we take this off the mat, that we would have the same awareness, both in our physicality off the mat, but also most interestingly to me, in our lives off the mat. Let's find out more. So we've heard it all of the time about tracking our feet with our knees with our feet. And to make sure, for example, if we're in warrior or if we're in a low lunge, that our knees are tracking our feet. The same when we come to a squat, be it chair, be it whatever version of a squat we want to come to, that our knees are tracking our feet so that we don't have a situation where our feet are turned out and our knees are turned in. So looking at this in a little bit more detail, what is it that we're actually looking to do? And why is it that we're looking to do that? So what we're looking to do is to make sure that the description is that the middle toe, if you look over your knee, that you see your middle toe. Really, it's not so much about seeing your middle toe. That is definitely a good cue to give. However, what we're looking to do is to really access the full balanced power of the leg to bring us to wherever it is we want to go. So for example, if I come straight on, if I go forward, I'm coming forward and back. If my knee is not in alignment, you'll see that I'm losing a lot of power, that what may not be clear to the eye, but is how far off track we go as opposed to being centered. So here, when my knee and foot are in alignment, I'm really coming straight in for you. Whereas if my knee is slightly off alignment, you can see how a tiny little difference, maybe at the foot, always at the foot, but translated into the knee, will send me way, way offside. So what we're looking to do is to really see, can we access it, that we stay in this aligned position. Why do we want to stay in this aligned position? What is the point? Well, yes, 100% to prevent injury, 100%. But what's even more interesting to me is that we can access our power, that we can leverage when we press into the foot. If we're in alignment, what we receive, that rebound that we get, will travel the whole way through the body. I refer to that as our pathway of weight. And what it refers to is the idea that our foot is connected to our thigh, our shin is connected through our knee to our thigh, through our pelvis to our torso. So that as I put pressure into or receive a rebound from the foot, from the ground, whatever it is that we're being supported by, that I can receive a full, and that I can get access to the full amount of support that is available. Let me say that to you again, that I can get access to the full amount of support that is available. How many times in our life are we not able to access the full amount of support that is available? How many times has a friend or a family member said to us, if only I had known, I could have helped? Or if you'd asked me, I'd have done something. How many times are we not getting access to that full support that is available to us because we're not even aware that the support is there? We're so busy struggling to get doing whatever it is that we're doing that we don't even notice that we need support. We don't even sometimes notice that we need support until we have collapsed in a heap on the floor or taken the head off somebody or whatever. In my case, it used to be crashing cars, but you won't talk about that. At least we won't tell my husband about that. So what does it mean to receive the full amount of support that is available? As I press forward, if I have this beautiful alignment in place, what I'm getting is from the ground, I'm getting through the arches of the foot, I'm getting that lovely feedback the whole way back into my pelvis and into my torso. So if I want to lift up, if I want to move, if I want to do whatever it is I want to do, I have a lot more support coming from the ground. I'm receiving it all back in. When I'm not in alignment, if my knee is kind of off, then some of that energy is going somewhere else. So the energy is going off that way and it's not being received back into me. Whereas in this position, it's coming up my leg. Out here, it's kind of going to wherever it's going to, but I'm not getting it. And so that's one of the big things that we're looking to do is to see, can I really get access all of the power and support that is within me? Can I reclaim all the power that is within me? Why am I sending power out to the world and not receiving it back, not receiving the support back? And a lot of that is to do with our alignment. So why is our alignment off? Like, why is it that our knee might be splaying out and that we might only be getting 60% or 30% of the rebound effortlessly coming back to us? And that often has to do with habit. It's to do with our muscle strength. It's to do with our life experience, depending. If you happen to have been a cowboy, then maybe you walk a bit like this, life experience and development of the pelvis. If you're a ballerina, maybe you walk like this. I'm neither, so I don't really know. I'm just making that up. If you have stronger muscles on the inside of your thighs, maybe these are pulling you in. On the other hand, if you have stronger muscles here, glutes, maybe it's pulling you out. If you have imbalance on the right leg and the left leg, maybe that's setting you off. There are a myriad of reasons that could lead to this imbalance that is present in all of our bodies. There are very few of us that are perfectly imbalanced all of the time. In fact, we're pretty much not. But what we're looking to do is to become aware. We're looking to heighten our awareness of this so that we can then leverage that we can then have a choice and do something about it. An example that I love to use is a car. So back in the day, well, not back in the day, still today, your car tracking. Any of you that have cars and that know anything about cars will know that sometimes your wheel alignment can be off and that the tracking in the car can be off. So I used to drive, well, I still drive a car, but often my husband would have got into my car and he'd say something to me, your alignment is all off, your tracking is all off, you need to get this car tracked. And I'm like, what are you on about? Like, what are you on about? And he's like, can you not feel it? Can you not feel it? I'm like, no. And he's like, the car is pulling, it's pulling. I'm like, what are you on about? It's perfect. It's going in a straight line. And then he'd do something that used to scare the bejesus out of me. We'd be on a clear, open road and straight. And then he would take both hands off the steering wheel, and the whole car would just drift, typically to the inside, to the middle of the road. I'm going, okay, fair enough. We go to the garage, we get the car tracked or whatever, where they put all the wheels back in alignment. I live in a country lane, lots of potholes, wheels go out of alignment a lot. We come back into the car and suddenly it's just so much easier to drive. Nowadays, I can feel it. Now I can feel that one arm is doing a little bit more work to keep the steering wheel, to keep the car going straight. One hand, my arm, I can actually feel it in my arm now that it's doing a little bit more work. I can feel it as the car starts to drift a little bit more. But that awareness only arose definitely out of embodied yoga, but also out of making sure that I could feel what the hell my husband was talking about, because even though I was always saying there was nothing, he was typically right, which I hate to admit, but there you go. So what was putting that car off was hitting a pothole, or the wear and tear on my car was uneven, and it was going through strain and stress that was just tiny, slightly putting it out of alignment over time. And as that alignment over time got worse, then you could feel it that more effort had to be put in to bring the car back into alignment. We're exactly the same. So we're exactly the same. We are typically off alignment everywhere. We might have a shoulder up and thingy down, and I know I'm exaggerating here, but this is kind of not an unreasonable exaggeration of what our bodies are like. And then we want to walk in a straight line, and we do walk in a straight line. We do hold our head up. So even if our shoulders like this, we do hold our head up. But we do these movements to bring ourselves back into feel internally like we can walk in a straight line, or that we can step into a straight line. However, what's happening may be that we're putting a lot more strain on certain parts. So whatever the imbalance is will become exaggerated, because in order to take your foot out, and to keep your knee tracking over your toe, then we might be making these muscles do some work, as opposed to looking to turn everything on. What we're looking to do is to learn to notice, to become aware of the imbalance that is in our leg, in our foot, in our glutes, in our waist, and to turn everything on a little bit. So some of our muscles are typically on too much, some of them are not on at all. They've gone on holidays. We're looking to become aware of what that is so we can make the arches work. Make the arches work. Not push the knee out. Make the arches work. Then look at the muscles of musculature of the leg and see, can we get that on? The muscles into the glutes, the muscles into the core, the muscles into the spine, so that we can then really receive the support that is available to us. That when we take a step forward, that we can receive the full rebound to bring us back. And therefore that we become actually much lighter, we become a lot more contained, and we have a lot more power and force within our body. We're talking about containment, we're talking about awareness, we're talking about power and force. So within the physicality of our bodies, within the physicality of our asanas, we have lots of different opportunities to play with this. In all of our lunges, in all of our warriors, in our bridges. I love doing this in bridge when we've got support through the back. I can really develop that sensation through the pelvis, through the legs, through the pelvis. We can do it by offering support to bring us into alignment and then removing that support and seeing what the difference is. I have loads and loads of little videos where we talk about that and where we work with that. So you'll see how I teach bridge, how we teach warrior. We'll bring all that in. But what's really interesting to me is that these are micro changes. That's micro awarenesses to then make micro changes. And we're about balance. We're about bringing this, turning something off and turning something on. Not off completely, but releasing the tension and pressure that's in one side and increasing the pressure on the other side so that we ultimately achieve balance. And when we have balance, then we can have flow, containment, and strength. These differences are subtle. So what are these differences? If we were to take this off the mat, what would that look like? Well, it might look like when we have this making a micro change like eating, for example. It might be that we overschedule ourselves. It might be that we say yes too much. It might be that we don't get to bed on time. It might be that all of these little micro changes that bring us out of sync with ourselves, which means that when we are put under strain, we go further away from ourselves and we end up in this really overstretched position. When we're in this overstretched position, out of alignment with ourselves, that's when we're cranky cows. That's when we lose the head with the kids, with the partners. That's when things irritate us. That's when we overeat or undereat. That's when it impacts our sleep. It impacts our moods. It impacts our ability to make choices for ourselves. Have you ever noticed that when you're tired, you typically make worse choices? So all of these little micro changes that we're talking about, I was talking about them in asana, but really I'm talking about them in our lives. The first thing is to become aware. Where are we losing our power? Where are we losing our support? Where are we not able to access our support? Where can we not drop into our support? Where are we holding on so tight that we're afraid that if we let go at all, everything will fall? All those balls we have in the air will just all come tumbling down and we won't know how to pick them up. We're not looking to make massive big changes at this point. We're looking to make those micro changes. Let me show you. A micro change in our warrior might be to rotate the pelvis. A micro change in our warrior might be to turn on or to look at rotating this thigh in a certain way so that the glutes are on less and the thigh is on more, or vice versa. A micro change might be just simply noticing, wow, actually my leg wants to go out that way. Or when I wear my shoes, the soles of my shoes don't wear down evenly. That's interesting. What's happening there? Oh, my tendency is to bring my knee in. Now I have awareness. The first step is always awareness. Oh, when I pick up the kids from school, I haven't eaten and I'm cranky when they come in with this really high energy or really low energy. I react to it. Oh, I don't get to the shop in time. So there's not food in the house for people to snack on. So then they get irritated and then I get irritated and there's the spiral. Oh, I tend to stay up late at night watching Instagram or Netflix or reading my book or whatever it is. And it takes me a while to unwind when I get to bed. Oh, I never make myself important enough to go for a soothing candlelit bath for myself at night, because by the time I come back from putting the children to bed or doing the 300 million things, I'm so exhausted, I just flop on the couch. These are all the little micro things that if you can notice them, then you can make micro changes, micro changes. And if you think about the idea is that we are overstretched, we are out of alignment, we are not contained, we are losing our power, and we're not able to take our support. But if we make these micro adjustments in our lives, we can ultimately come back into containment, come back into our power, and come back into being able to be supported. Imagine if we could be supported, then we're available to support others. Imagine if we were contained and feeling in our power, we have no need to be in competition with another. We have no need to make another right or wrong, because it's not relevant. We are in our own power. We have received support. We are well. We are balanced. We are in alignment. Now, I know that sounds fantastic. And the thing is to remember, if you're walking, if you're cycling, you feel like you're going in a straight line, but what is actually happening is, if you look at cycling slow down, basically people are falling to the right, and then they do whatever they need to do to fall to the left, and then they do something else to fall to the right, and all the time they're moving forward. There's nothing surer than we're moving forward or we're moving back. Change is certain. So as we fall a little bit in one direction, can you make those micro changes to bring yourself back to the other direction? And then in time, maybe we're more upright. We're always going to be slightly out of balance one way or the other way. But maybe we can, rather than having to go the whole way where we collapse, that we can find and notice that receive support, make these slight shifts, and then do a little bit. We just overcorrect a little bit. And then we end up, instead of looking like we're falling, it looks like we're dancing. And we can dance through life. Oh, listen, it's a lifetime's work. But play with it. Start with your knees.